Reporting Results Presentation by Jane Slovik. School Counseling Program Intentional Guidance Plan for Southern Alamance High School by Jane Slovik, Southern Alamance High School School Counselor. In this presentation, I will be sharing data collected over the past year for both staff and students to determine a need that Southern Alamance High School has that the school counseling department can help meet. Over the past year, the school counseling department has collected a lot of data. I'm just going to give you some of the highlights right now. 50% of Math 1 students at Southern Alamance are grade level proficient. This exceeds both district and state levels. 226 students are enrolled in AP courses, and over 80% of our teachers are experienced. That's the highest in the district. However, although our academic growth goal was met for the previous school year, a few alarming results were brought to the counseling department's attention while reviewing the NC State report card for Southern Alamance High School. Although there's a lot that we can be proud of, especially all of our hard work during an unforeseen pandemic, there are some areas Southern Alamance can improve upon. Most notably, our high rate of criminal acts, chronic absenteeism, and presence of bullying. What did the counseling department find while researching school data? We found that a school-wide positive behavioral intervention support system, which is a prevention-oriented framework focused on creating environments that reflect safety, social competence, and healthy school climates, can help improve a school climate and increase attendance. What is a PBIS, or Positive Behavior Intervention Support? It is not a curriculum, but a framework for a positive school environment. It supports all students. It's based on data and improves outcomes backed by research. It produces positive outcomes, which include academic performance, social and emotional competence, reduction of bullying, including cyberbullying, which is on the rise. It reduces disciplinary referrals. This is extremely important to Southern Alamance due to our high rates of criminal acts, and it improves school climate. Why are school counselors beneficial to the implementation of a PBIS program? Counselors are uniquely well trained in the collection of school data. We also work in collaboration with stakeholders to engage in a multi-year process of changing school climate. Furthermore, the role of a school counselor in adopting a school-wide initiative such as this can be powerful and crucial to its success. What else does research show? When it comes to dealing with absenteeism and truancy issues, student youth mentoring programs could be the answer that school districts and local juvenile court officials need to bring about meaningful change with chronically truant students, who often turn to delinquency and criminal acts to address their pre-existing issues, rather than working on them in a healthy, nurturing, and supportive environment. Youth mentoring programs have proven highly successful, possibly as successful as PBIS programs. The United States Department of Justice has found that youth at risk of delinquency benefit from a community that help to establish ties with families, support social institutions, intervene when delinquent behavior occurs, and have established guidelines in place to deal with chronic offenders. In addition, Jan van Os found that although some delinquent individuals avoid arrest, they have often come to the attention of their school district. A mentoring program in school that is effectively implemented can help to reduce delinquent behavior before arrest is necessary. The presence of bullying, fights, discriminatory practices, or language, as well as poor student-teacher relationships, all contribute to the students reluctant to attend school. I don't think you guys needed data to know that. Obviously, if there's bullying and fighting and you don't feel comfortable, you're going to hesitate before you come to school. We want to help fix that. What does our data show? In 2019, North Carolina school report cards found that Southern Alamance reported 16.43 criminal acts per 1,000 students. That's a lot, compared with 8.86 countywide and 6.29 statewide. So we are almost double what the county has and almost triple the state levels. Surprisingly, although we have a higher crime rate than the county and the state, we've had 0 referrals to law enforcement and fewer in-school and short-term suspensions. Positive school climates are associated with improvements in students' self-esteem and self-concept, mental and physical health, academic achievement, attitudes towards schooling and behavior. Furthermore, a school-wide survey identified lack of caring as a major concern for students and staff, with 71% identifying that they have felt unsafe at least once in the past school year. 71%. I think we are all in agreement that we want to reduce that number, because if you don't feel safe coming to school, clearly we need to help improve the school climate and the school environment. This may be a little hard for you to read in the back, so I'm just going to go ahead and read it to you. A considerable body of research shows that peer victimization is associated with negative emotions, suicidal ideation, learning difficulties, truancy, substance abuse, and behavior problems. Whew, it's a lot. Peer victimization is also associated with broader school-based environmental challenges, such as low school attachment and connectedness to staff and other students at school, as well as low perceived school safety. Prevention program that enhances peer relationships, promotes student-teacher connectiveness, and normalizes help seeking may be particularly useful, and bolstering school staff's abilities to appropriately recognize and respond to student aggression and peer victimization exposure represents another actionable, intentional step towards creating a more positive school climate. So what we as counselors want to do, we want to give you the tools to recognize aggression, recognize peer victimization, know what to do when that happens, how to help students find the help they need if they are victims, and improve on the student-teacher connections. All of that will lead to a more positive school environment. We want to help give you the tools to help that happen. The counseling department is not the only staff members that feel a school-wide system is necessary. The school counseling department surveyed 84 teachers. Out of those 84, although 64% agreed that students followed rules, 25% disagreed. When asked if teachers consistently enforce rules, 49% felt they do, but 32%, so more than a quarter of you, felt that teachers consistently do not enforce the rules. And are the rules equitably applied? Half of you believe they are, but a quarter, 25%, feel they are not. The counseling department is going to break those numbers down even more for you, but we're just giving you the basics right now because we thought the numbers were alarming enough that we wanted to share it with you. When asked if bullying was not an issue at Southern Alamance, 48% agreed, but 39% feel that bullying is an issue at Southern Alamance. 43% of you felt cyberbullying was not an issue, but 40% felt that cyberbullying is an issue. So we also want to reduce those numbers. Comparison of local, county, and state data in North Carolina. As mentioned earlier, at Southern Alamance, there's 16.43 criminal acts per 1,000 students. 8.86 compared to 8.86 in the county and 6.29 in the state. We had 0 referrals to law enforcement in the past year. However, the county had 2.08 per 1,000 and the state 2.48. So although they had less criminal acts than us, they had more referrals to law enforcement, and we had 0. In terms of suspensions, both in school and short term, Southern Alamance had 12.5 out of 100 compared to 14.54 countywide and 13.37 state. And for in-school suspensions, Southern Alamance had 13.28 compared to 15.08 for the county and 15.7 for the state. So again, we had more aggressive acts or criminal acts, but we had less suspension both in school and short term. So what is our next step? Improve school climate and increase attendance by reducing criminal acts by 25% over the next 3 years. That is our chosen goal. Why did we choose this goal? Our school data reflects a need for a reduction of criminal acts, which will increase attendance and improve overall school climate. A positive school climate is the product of a school's attention to fostering safety, promoting a supportive academic, disciplinary, and physical environment, and encouraging and maintaining respectful, trusting, and caring relationships throughout the school community, no matter the setting. Although data helps to reinforce this, we all believe that staff and students should feel safe at school. When they do, school climate and participation increases, disciplinary issues decline, and academics improve. American School Counselor Association has national standards. By working towards improving school climate, increasing attendance, and reducing bullying, theft, and aggression, the counseling department is focusing on personal and social development standard A. That students will acquire the knowledge, attitudes, and interpersonal skills to help them understand and respect self and others. Students will develop positive attitudes towards self as unique and worthy person. They will distinguish between appropriate and inappropriate behavior. They will recognize personal boundaries, rights, and privacy needs, and understand the need for self-control and how to practice it. Okay, so the big question, how will we achieve all this? What are the next steps? Positive behavior intervention supports, which are an evidence-based 3-tiered framework for improving and integrating all data, systems, and practices affect student outcomes every day. So how do we implement it? It has 3 tiers. Tier 1 affects all students. It establishes a foundation and a commitment to a positive school-wide climate. Data is the basis of all decisions. A leadership team is organized. This is extremely important to form a leadership team. And professional development plans begin. How will the school counselors help with this? Along with teachers, expectations and behaviors are reviewed and taught if necessary. Homeroom teachers will align classroom expectations with school counselors' school-wide expectations, and the school-family partnership will begin. Tier 2. It typically affects 10 to 15% of students that Tier 1 was not enough for them. It adds additional structures and provides more reinforcement and encouragement. It's supportive for students that are at risk who are not as successful at Tier 1. Outcome data is collected from Tier 1. Screening of students occurs to determine those that need more support. Additional things that are provided, more positive reinforcement, increase of pre-correctiveness, so we try to find the behaviors before they begin. We try to identify problem behaviors and provide more academic support if necessary. Tier 3 typically affects between 1 to 5% of students. It is highly individualized, including a multidisciplinary team and behavioral support. Throughout all the tiers, counselors will continue data collection and assessment of students. Why PBIS? Programs have data-backed evidence to support their use. That's the main reason why the counseling department chose PBIS over a mentoring program. Although the mentoring program may be as successful, they are harder to implement because you need a lot more alliances with the community, which can happen. It just takes a little bit longer. So that is certainly a goal that the counselors have for the future. And we are going to start reaching out to contacts to make those connections and help bridge that gap between school and community. But we felt with looking at our data that we needed to implement something right away. That's why we chose the PBIS over a mentoring program. It's recognized as an effective framework for selecting, organizing, and implementing evidence-based practices for reducing school discipline issues while improving school climate. When it's implemented well, students achieve approved social and academic outcomes, school experience reduced exclusionary discipline practices, and school personnel feel more effective. School climate can improve attendance, achievement, retention, and even rates of graduation. PBIS implementation can also increase attendance at the high school level. So although currently only 80.2% of Southern Alamance's senior graduate, which is 6.1% below state levels, PBIS should help increase that number. Some data on our Southern Alamance attendance. We have a 33% chronic absenteeism rate, which means that 470 students were absent or tardy at least 10 times in the past school year. Compared to state and county, we are significantly higher. However, our daily attendance is almost right on par with our county and our state. So that's something interesting that we also need to look into further, which we will be doing so in the future. So what happens next? May 2021, we will be forming a committee to help implement the PBIS program. The committee will help to determine the framework for when this will occur and how we will do it in July. In August, we will have a staff in service. to explain how this will work, answer any questions, and further promote the program. And the program will begin in September of 2021. Online resources are available. The committee will review them. A critical component of the program is a leadership team. They help handle implementation, they monitor systems in place, and they help provide resources. The committee will determine a focus and a vision. At the staff in-service, a pretest will be provided to determine what staff knows, and a post-test will be provided afterwards. We want to assess their knowledge, the skill of what they have, and their attitudes towards the program. When school staff members work in concert to identify and apply the stages and practices they all agree on, they create an opportunity to consciously establish a common school. I'm sorry, I'm going to read that again. My throat's getting a little dry after 20 minutes, so I apologize. When a school staff members work in concert to identify and apply the strategies and practices they all agree on, they create an opportunity to consciously establish a common school culture. Whew. Thank you for bearing with me. When surveyed, we found that 87% of staff have not had an in-service on behavioral management techniques in the past 2 years. So this is extremely important. We will be reviewing all of that at our in-service, as well as discussing the PBIS program. Limitations of a PBIS program. Problematic behaviors displayed by high schoolers may be more severe and intense, and the large number of students and staff makes communication and implementation more difficult. I think we can all agree that as you get older, there's more significant behaviors that are often seen. Not always the case, but most often. It is found that in order to implement all 3 tiers, acknowledging teacher expectations and disciplinary issues is a critical first step. But too often, less than 75% of staff members support the program. That's why we as counselors are going to try very hard by the pre-test, the post-test, and our staff in-services to answer any questions, be the support system that you need, and together work towards this goal. Counselors will also be contacting any teachers with concerns before school starts. Hopefully these things in congruence with the in-services will help make this a successful program. Through careful research of data, the school counseling program has determined a need and developed a school-wide intentional guidance plan based on empirical evidence. Together, we will remain Patriot strong. We'd like to thank all stakeholders for their endless support of our programs, and thank you for listening to me talk for so long. I apologize if I started to ramble, and we thank you so much for all you do for Southern Alamance and continuing to make our school the best that it can be. Thanks so much.